What's up, y'all? Doing a little bit of a impromptu live here. I don't expect too many people to be on the live, but I'll wait 10 seconds here for Facebook to do its thing and notify some of you that might want to hop on. I had a little window here in between calls, so I figured I'd jump on because I did get some questions. A few people reached out based on the post yesterday. I believe it was yesterday. I might have posted in here on Sunday about reasons that people struggle building muscle. Had some questions on knowing what exercise to do and protein intake and how do I make sure I'm eating enough. And yeah, I got quite a few comments or questions, so I thought it might be beneficial to hop in here, do a quick live, and go a little bit further in detail as far as that post goes. So I'll get started here, and if you guys have any questions, drop it in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to get to them as well. And I don't know, I have a call here in like 15 minutes, so I depending if there's anybody on, I might have a little bit of room for Q&A, but probably not. So if you have a question, just drop in the comments. I might not be able to answer it on the live, but I can comment back to you the best I can and answer your question. So struggle building muscle. This is something that I get quite a bit. And it's one of the frustrating things too, because if somebody's trying to build lean muscle mass and they're putting all this work into the gym and they're working out really hard and not seeing the results or progress as quickly as they like, it can be very frustrating, right? Because you feel like you're putting in this work and you're not being rewarded for it, versus trying to lose weight and you're overeating and not working out and stuff, and you're not losing weight. You kind of know why, but it's a different feeling. It's a feeling of defeat or frustration when you are putting in the work and you're not getting the results that you're after, right? So I'm going to cover three main things here in depth, but I'll try to make this as short and buttoned up as possible. I know I always say that though, right? So the first big mistake that I see people make is the nutrition isn't dialed in and where it needs to be. So as I was saying, if your nutrition isn't dialed in, you could be working out 5-6 days a week. You could be doing quote unquote perfect workouts, and your training could be on point. But if you're not fueling your body properly, it's ultimately not going to matter. Like, you're just going to continue to be spinning your wheels, being frustrated, as I just mentioned. You're going to get nowhere. Or if you are making progress, it's much slower or less optimal than if your nutrition is dialed in. And what I mean specifically when I say nutrition is dialed in, and not to be vague with it, is making sure you're getting adequate protein in. Like, if you're not getting enough protein, it's impossible for your muscles to repair, recover, and grow and build muscle in the places that you're after. So to break that down, a basic rule of thumb for a male, it should be probably anywhere from like 0 0.7, 0 0.8 grams to 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you're, say, a 200-pound male, you'd want to be in that 160 to 200 grams of protein per day range. For females, typically recommend anywhere from 0.6 to 0.8 grams per pound. So if you're a female who's 150 pounds, somewhere obviously north of 100. I'm not great at quick math, but like half of that would be, if you weighed 140 pounds, that would be 70. So you'd roughly want to be around 100 grams per day. So that's where your protein needs to be. And then as far as calories and making sure you're eating enough as well. Like, people will maybe lose weight and they're so used to being a caloric deficit, and you can still build lean muscle. And that's the other thing too, that you can lose body fat and build lean muscle simultaneously. Like, you don't need to go through this cutting body fat phase or cutting weight phase, then build muscle. If you've been training for 5, 10, 15 years, your progress is going to be much slower. But like, we don't have clients that do like a fat loss phase and a muscle building phase. You can do both simultaneously as long as nutrition in your training is dialed in. I think that's an important thing to note. But making sure you're getting enough calories in, because if you're chronically under eating and you're working out like a mad person, again, you're going to be spinning your wheels. You're going to be going nowhere. So first and foremost, it's most important that you're getting adequate amount of protein in, but also making sure your nutrition is where it needs to be as far as calories and fueling your body, and make sure you're not under eating. It's something that I commonly see. So when I say fuel your body properly, that's what I mean. What I mean there, because if your protein isn't where it needs to be, or you're not getting enough calories in, whatever, you're just going to be spinning your wheels, which is really, really frustrating. The second thing here, and I've talked a lot about this in depth, but the only way that you can seriously build lean muscle and put on size or put on muscle is through what's called progressive overload. And I know I've talked about this in the group, but sometimes you need to hear things 5, 6, 7 times. And I see this all the time where so many people are just in the gym putting in all this work, but like they're just going through the motions. We've all been there. There goes through phases where I'll train hard for a couple months and I'll just have a week or 2 weeks where life happens and I'm just kind of showing up to check the box. There's a big difference between just going through the motions and truly training with intent and really ultimately pushing yourself hard. Okay? And what I mean by progressive overload is the two ways that you build lean muscle is by increasing the amount of weight that you're lifting over time or increasing the training volume and intensity. When we bring a client in, we make sure ideally we want to get them to their incorporating both at the same time, because that's when you get exponential results. But the first thing is increasing strength, and I'll keep things very simple. It's like 1 week you're doing 10 reps with 10-pound dumbbells for curls, for bicep curls, okay? And then 2 weeks later, instead of doing 10 pounds for 10 reps, you increase the weight to 12.5 pounds or 15 pounds for 10 reps. You're adding weight as you're progressing. That is an example of progressive overload, okay? Or, and that isn't a strength example where you're getting stronger. When you get stronger and your muscles are lifting more, they have no choice but to repair, recover, and grow, and that's how your muscles become larger. The other thing that you can do as well, the second thing I mentioned, is increasing training volume and intensity. So what I mean by this is we'll keep weight equal in as far as this example, but maybe 1 week or your first week you're doing 3 sets of 10 reps as far as dumbbell bicep curls go. Well, maybe 2 weeks later, instead of doing 3 sets, you're doing 4 sets. So you add a set. That would be increasing training volume and intensity, okay? Ultimately, your goal and what you want to do over a period of time, and what we make sure our clients are doing when they're training and how it evolves and how they progress, is trying to incorporate both of them. So like in that example, first week you're doing 3 sets of 10 reps with 10-pound dumbbells, and maybe a month later you're doing 4 sets, 10 reps with 15-pound dumbbells. So in that example, you're not only increasing the amount of weight that you're lifting, that you're getting stronger, but you're also increasing the amount of volume that you're training as well. Does that make sense? In a real simple way, that's what progressive overload is. So when you're training, you want to make sure you're doing those sorts of things. Okay? So mistake number 1, not fueling your body properly, nutrition isn't dialed in. 2, not incorporating progressive overload into your resistance training. Okay? The final thing is, and this is one of the most common mistakes that I see, is big picture macro, and then I'll kind of take it to the micro, but macro is your training and your working out isn't aligned with your goals and what you're ultimately trying to do. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've talked to a woman and she's like, I've never had a butt. I have a pancake booty and I really want to grow a butt. I want to grow my legs, or, I have really skinny stick arms and I want to grow those. And then I asked them specifically, like, okay, what are you doing? What's your current workout routine look like? And they're like, well, I go for a couple of runs a couple times a week, and I try to go to 1 yoga class with my friend. It's like, okay, that's a huge problem, right? And again, I'm all for people getting their butt off the couch and doing something. There's nothing wrong with yoga. There's nothing wrong with running. The problem lies is the actions and the working out that people do don't align with their goals. There's a misalignment in what they're doing and what their goal actually is. Nobody looks at, as I mentioned, like marathon runners typically and say, oh my gosh, that person that won the marathon, the Boston Marathon, like, my God, they have a lot of muscles and they're in incredible shape. They don't want to carry muscle mass. They don't want to look incredible. They train for endurance. Like, that's their goal. So running every single day, multiple miles and hours and such is aligned with their goals. But if your goal is to build lean muscle mass, doing those sorts of things are okay, but doing those solely is not going to get you anywhere close to where you want to be. Okay? So big picture, I just see people doing classes or boot camps or at home body workouts, and they want to build lean muscle, and just what they're doing is they will never get to where they want to be doing those sorts of things. Or if they do, it's going to be much slower progress, probably 10 times less than being on a specific training program that's aligned exactly with what you're doing. Okay, so misalignment of their workouts versus their goals, that's one problem inside the training. The other thing that I'll see as well is when it comes to specific exercises and such, like, people will really want to grow a butt, but they don't work their butt directly. They'll just do like leg extensions and leg curls on the machines because it's comfortable. They know what they're doing. Part of growth and change is change, doing something different today than you did yesterday, right? So they're not effectively targeting the key areas. They think they're going to build a great butt by doing, leg press, for example, which it works your glutes a little bit, but it's not optimal. So making sure people are doing the right exercises to target the specific muscles that they're trying to ultimately grow. And that's another thing that when we get into the micro with people and their experience and wanting to put on like lean muscle mass, they're not doing some of these things. When they're in the gym, they might be lifting 2 or 3 times a week, but the exercises that they're doing are not optimal or maybe not targeting the specific areas. I would say that latter, example is probably the least common, or, that's an easy fix. But those main things right there, hopefully you can take a couple things away. And if your goal is to like tone up and build some lean muscle or build a butt, build bigger arms, shoulders, whatever, hopefully you can take a couple things that I mentioned and reflect back on what you're doing and see if you can make some adjustments moving forward that will help you get to where you want to be. So to summarize with that and keep it around 10 minutes, if you're struggling building lean muscle, I would take a look at these three things. 1, is your nutrition dialed in? Are you eating enough calories? Are you fueling your body properly? Are you making sure you're getting adequate protein in that's going to allow you to stimulate muscle growth? Number 1. Number 2, are you incorporating progressive overload? Getting stronger over time or increasing your training volume and intensity. You need to have that. The third thing is making sure what you're doing as far as big picture workouts and how your training actually aligns with your goals and what you're trying to accomplish. And then, like I said, last but not least is, are you picking specific exercise and getting maybe out of your comfort zone and pushing yourself with exercises in a way of training that actually targets those areas that you're trying to build lean muscle mass. Okay? So with that said, hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And I got to run here. Let me just make sure if there's no comments. I have like 5 minutes I could. It doesn't look like it. So have a great rest of your week. I will plan a live call for next week here. I guys let you know I'm trying to do a better job of being active in this group and helping you guys out and trying to do one live a week at least. So yeah, have a great rest of your week and we'll see you next weekend at some point. I'll let you know when. Take care. Peace.